Okay, my brothers and sisters and friends all around the world. Now I'm going to read you my response to the person who sent me a note from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Denmark. And really, that's all I really needed was a response. I think you remember when I talk about that I sent a letter to the Queen. I was not expecting a response at all because I was not expecting to engage in any way with the Queen subsequent to that. It's just a documentation of what the outline of the project is, and I can always go back to it to refer to it and to keep everything within the same sync, you know. But a response from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is very important because this is where I actually have to do the work. So any response is good, and the response was positive. Now, this is my response to her to show her where I'm coming from, because this is where we nip it in the bud. This is where we actually begin making the change, the DNA in the process. A change in the DNA of the approach to solving problems in Malawi. Here we go. Maybe I should have read what she wrote to me, but it's not really necessary. She wished me luck and she told me where I could apply for funds. So this is my response. Dear Frida, thank you so much for your response to my inquiry by telephone. My inquiry was by telephone, sorry. It was very encouraging to hear from you and to learn about CISU, where initiatives like mine can seek funding. However, I must inform you that the reason why I contacted the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the first place is with the objective of reviewing that practice of sourcing external funds for African projects. Okay? If the practice cannot be entirely abandoned, then it is my opinion that it must be delayed and discouraged for as long as possible while internal African sources of finance are established. However, this does not mean a termination of collaboration and good relationships. On the contrary, I believe this will usher in a climate for mutual respect, transparency, and efficiency. The argument for the validity of my desired future strategies is informed by personal observations throughout my life as a Danida child. The steady closing of Danish embassies across Africa since 2015, and all of that is one sentence, sorry. The argument for the validity of my desired future strategies is informed by personal observations throughout my life as Danida child. 1. The steady closing of Danish embassies across Africa since 2015, and the conclusions of Danish experts on African development, including my late father, Hans-Jørgen Andersen. In the interest of my extended family and the objective of establishing a museum in honor of his career in African development, I hope that it is acceptable to receive a copy of the entirety of his official project reports submitted to Danida. I think that these will play a vital role in my objective of reviewing and correcting project designs across Africa. So we get to the nitty-gritty. I'm not doing anything special. Dad did a lot, and I just want to have a look at what Dad did and have an overview and present it in the format of a museum, together with all my dad's colleagues and the contemporaries, which would include Britta Torning and people like that. The review process will not happen in isolation. Rather, I am currently contacting all other Danida families, and we plan to host a series of conferences at Kaesa Inn, the final project that my father established. It is a project very unlike all his projects and a total departure from the ministry he worked under all his life. As a business of accommodation, it is under the Ministry of Tourism. However, like most accommodation facilities, it has conference halls which in the last many years have served various projects well. Excuse my reading because I did not really understand what my own cadence was, but here we go. Personally, I'm not satisfied with the scope of projects we have hosted so far. That's my honest opinion. I mean, I've been watching the projects, and if you watched me the last time I had a fight with my siblings, it was like, hey, come on, guys, you serious? Like, come on. I am aware that the aspirations of the first Danish volunteers in Africa were high, but have steadily been compromised by realities beyond their control. Along the way, vision has been lost and a culture of settling for the mediocre has asserted itself. That is why I'm not comfortable with seeking for funds as a starting point. I am searching for allies in raising the standards of projects design, and a mere acknowledgement of this objective from your ministry is more than enough. It will, under any circumstances, give a legitimate basis for improved policy development. For example, it gives me the legitimacy to make this letter, which I'm sending to you. So we've already got the ball rolling by them responding. That was all I needed. Denmark is a democracy, and international development is carried out under mandate from the populace. It is my firm belief that the Danish development in Africa, while serving Africa, should also serve the Danish population. Our series of conferences at CAESA will at all times take this into consideration as we seek to design win-win bridges towards progress. I'm also aware that while Denmark has been closing down embassies in Africa, it has in the meantime opened an embassy in Silicon Valley. I totally understand and agree with this logic, and it validates my aspiration to improve the nature of development policy in Africa. We have on our continent a clear-cut justification for corporate responsibility in the dynamics that support big tech and the green energy industries. Coltan and lithium mines do not benefit African laborers in an acceptable proportion of the immense profits made by these industries. At CAESA, we will develop CCSR, Comprehensive Corporate Social Responsibility, which will be fair to stakeholders of these industries, to all stakeholders in these industries. These are the reasons for my contacting the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and I hope for a response that will go beyond seeking for funding. Of course, I'm very grateful for the response and the opportunities for financial assistance, and I will make use of them. However, my priority is to obtain a solid acknowledgement of this new approach, which is actually in tandem with all the experts on development who have been writing the last years. I think there was a letter published in November, actually on my birthday, November 2022, there was a very good article published in a publication for these type of issues. And so I'll be returning back to that and naming the journalist who actually wrote it. That was in a letter that I wrote to the Prime Minister. And again, the letter to the Prime Minister is very much like the letter to the Queen. I don't expect a response. It's merely a stepping stone for my level. I'm not up on their level. I'm down here on the ground. But we are the ones who, our leaders in NEPAD, have appealed to organize. So we are just community organizers. We will be there at the conferences and say, this is what we're doing. This is how we're collaborating with our friends who are doing permaculture and all the different things that we do in our villages. That's who we are. Nothing more. I'm just a street musician. Okay? So we said we'll make use. However, my priority is to obtain a solid acknowledgement of the approach I present here, because under all circumstances, similar sentiments and arguments are being sent to several institutions and governments, including the President of Malawi. And as I said, also we're going to be sending this to my cousin, the King of Swaziland. Okay? So that is a response to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs now, and that is also open for the President of Malawi to see, and that goes in line with the letter that I wrote to the President, and they all come in line under the letter to the Prime Minister of Denmark, and that also comes in line under the letter to the Queen of Denmark, which was written in 2019. So the letter to the Queen was in 2019, the letter to the Prime Minister was in 2022, and these are here now in 2024. In the meantime, I've been working hard to put all the different parts in place, and also what we need to do to make sure that CAESA Inn can host this event, because this is the true continuation of the vision that my father's generation had when they came from Denmark to establish development in Africa. Okay? So talk to you later. Much love.